I'm going to show you today how to roll a blunt using just some scraps that you have laying around. So these are just scraps that I have laying around from some cigarillos that I've used, pieces of the inside that's broken off and I've just taken off rather than smoking. So anywho, I'm just going to show that to you today. So I'm just going to go ahead and take a few pieces out and see what I got to work with and how much I need. To do that. I have a couple big pieces, so I think I'll be able to do it pretty easily. So anywho, we have these two regular inside pieces of the cigarillo, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go ahead and stick those together, kind of like a collage piece. So I'm going to give it a quick lick, make sure it's nice and wet through one little line of it. Don't lick the whole thing, but just where you want it to stick. And then go ahead and put those together as evenly as possible. Make sure that all of the paper is touching so you don't have any holes through there. And then once you get that done, you can kind of give it a little bit better of a stick or another little lick there, and just go ahead and put that together so that you have a complete rolling surface. So now that's the two pieces that I just put together. I'm just going to give that another lick so that it stays together throughout the whole process. So again, you don't want to make it too wet so that it starts ripping apart, but just enough to make sure that it sticks together, and you can give it a little bit of time in between to actually go ahead and dry. So I'm just going to add this one other little piece. I'm not rolling a whole bunch, so it doesn't really matter as far as how big it is. I think that this will be just fine. In this case, size does not matter. So anywho, let me go ahead and just make that last stick. Give it one more lick for you, and then we have a nice little rolling surface. There's no holes or anything like that in there. I'll be able to work with that just fine. So there we go. We got that. I'm just going to set that off to the side so that it can dry a little bit. Yeah, just so you know that I didn't like switch it out on you. And then I'm just going to go ahead and take a little bud out. I'll warn you first, I'm not working with the highest quality today, so I do have some seedage going on, so I'll show you how to work around that as well. Alright, so anywho, I have a 3-chamber breaker. The first part is where you put your bud in, and there's a circle piece here in the middle of the top piece, and I usually just try and put my buds around it so that it doesn't get clogged up when you're trying to break that. So I'm just going to go ahead and put a couple of pieces of the bud around that circle piece in the middle there. Just enough. Again, I'm not rolling a big huge fatty, it's just for the head, so I'll just put a little bit in there, and then I'm going to go ahead and start to break that. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to give it a nice little squeeze first, kind of like, pressing a juice or something, and give it just a light twist because I am working with seeds. So just give that a little shake, and then they're falling out, so that's actually good. I must have grabbed a couple of good buds. Sweet. So now I'm just going to go ahead and break the rest of that up and just give it a nice little couple of spins until you don't feel any more tension in the breaker itself. And then in the second chamber is where all that bud is going to fall through. It's nicely refined. There's no seeds, no twigs or anything like that in there. So there we go. So we have a little bit of bud going on. We have our rolly here, our little Frankenstein, but that'll work just perfect. So again, just remember that you do have creases in it, so you want to work really lightly and fragilely with it as much as you can. But you can go ahead and just start to roll that like any other blunt. And I like to kind of put all of my weed to the side here on my breaking tray so that I can put it in and maneuver, the stuff easily so it's not falling all over the place and I get most of it in the blunt. So here we go. Just go ahead and twist that off in there. Alright, so now I have the bud in there, and I just want to make sure that that's even across the whole way, so I'm just going to go ahead and even that off. Alright, and then once you have it nice and even pretty much across the whole length of it, kind of like that, I do leave a little space on the ends because as you're rolling, some of it does move out. So if you put it right to the end, you're going to end up with weed sticking out that you're going to either have to pull out or pack in. So I just leave a little bit of space. And then these are pieces, so I'm just going to go ahead and fragilely kind of start to work a roll into that. So you can just see I'm just kind of folding and rolling as I'm going. So that way there it kind of sticks together. And then we'll just give it a nice little lick there and start to stick it. I don't want any of the pieces to fall apart, so just again, I'm just going really easy, real gentle with that. Just give it another quick couple of licks until you can get a nice little stick from that. Finish that right off. Just lick right down the whole seam of it. And I even give it like a small lick across every other little part, especially when you're rolling a Frankenstein like this, because that way there you can make sure that everything is sticking and you're not going to have any leaks. And then I'm going to fold in the top portion of it so that way there I don't have anything falling out of that portion. And also it actually lights really nicely. When you light it, it just, you know, burns really evenly. And then the other end is a nice little smoking hole, nice, you know, not too wide so that stuff's not falling out in your mouth and whatnot. So there you have it, folks. That's a nice little Frankenstein blunt just from a couple pieces of the inside of a cigarillo. So I hope you learned some from that, and I hope you enjoyed it. And if you did, go ahead and subscribe. Thanks. Have a good night, guys.